This is Wendy Fortino. I am on WOLFpak TV. We are live, and we are here for a very special treat. We have the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend, Victor Martinez. Woo!
Thank you. I'm thankful.
Victor is a two-time Arnold champion. He has qualified for the Olympia 13 times, which is insane. And he has been so busy staying integrated into the fitness world and the bodybuilding community. And we are so grateful to have you here. So welcome aboard. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, Victor.
Yes.
We have to talk.
Go for it. Come on.
I actually want to start this conversation. We were just talking about, being authentically you in this whole industry. And I see you talk actually about this quite a bit. You talk about, how to establish yourself, how to make money in the industry. And ultimately what it really comes down to is, finding out who you are. So tell me a little bit about that and how you have evolved your own persona, your own, brand.
Well, it's when I first started, obviously we always had somebody we looked up to.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them, for most people, Arnold. But then it was one of these things where I couldn't really relate. Arnold had the cool hair, he was tall, he was white, until I actually saw Lee Haney and Sergio Oliva in one of these old magazines I found. And I said, cool, this is kind of like, now I know, and I think I can do it for sure. Now, that being said, I used to emulate their posing style, the way they worked out, high volume, heavy, hard. But then after a while, I realized, and seeing, the Dorian Yates, the Ronnie Coleman, the Flex Wheeler, I realized, you know what? You have to create your own identity. And not just, obviously your own style of training. I mean, it's really, there's nothing to reinvent the wheel. You just pick the weights up and you train hard and you diet hard. It was more of how can I step on this stage and give them something different? Aside from the posing, it had to do with also the package you bought in.
Right.
There was a time when we were all competing against Ronnie. We all try to catch that size and then realized, obviously, we need to come in at our own best ability, what we can do, because not everybody's Ronnie Coleman. And seeing the young guys now, where C-Bum, Chris Bumstead, I see him, and now you see all the guys trying to really be him without really achieving what he has. And so a lot of these guys are losing their identities where they can actually be just as great, but I think they don't take that leap of creating their own, their own ability on that stage, their own way, their social media, the base. So that's why when I started doing the Olympia, one of the things I thought of, Arnold had his pose, the Oliva had the myth pose and all that,
Yeah.
So I said, man, you know what? Imagine I could just think of my own pose and make it a thing, and that's when I did the 3/4 side bicep on my balcony, kind of out from the Olympia. And it's great. It's a good feeling. And I want a lot of guys to know that they can achieve this, and they have to just trust themselves, and just run with it, And at the same time, doubt is one of the biggest things in this industry. We tend to be great, and unless we don't have that support system to keep reminding us, unless we have those achievements on the stage, we kind of, the doubt sets, takes over. So you have to trust yourself.
So is that the pose?
That was one of the classic poses. So even though I was bodybuilding, I always loved to do classic posing.
Right.
I always loved classic posing. I never liked the back and forth kind of just do it. So I always, always threw in the classic bodybuilding poses while being a little bit more massive. Well, it was more the bicep.
All right, let's see if we can find that.
Yeah, it'll come in.
Right. Well, let's just go for it. So this is your showdown with you and Jay. Okay, let's take it back. There was a lot of stuff going on in your life at this time.
Yes.
And despite all of it, you came in and you battled it so hard with Jay Cutler in 2007. And arguably, a lot of people thought that you had it, right? But before we talk about that, tell me a little bit more about what you had going on in your life at this time.
Well, I had just lost my mother a year prior. Um, it's like I lost someone every year before the Olympia. It was like
Ugh,
clockwork. It will always just happen. But I just stayed the course. I
right.
stayed the course because you know how it is when you're preparing for a show, you're kind of going through the whole process. The process is what we love most.
Hmm.
Win or lose, we love the structure of just getting up, doing the cardio, doing your meals, getting to
Hmm.
the gym, seeing the changes, your body just reacting to everything you're doing and just getting that golden look.
Hmm.
And I could not stop or think of who I lost because I would just say, you know what, I'm going to do this for them. So
Yeah.
I never made this a thing where I couldn't function. I think
Right.
losing them made me function and focus a little bit harder.
Isn't that like so crazy? I feel like, and when I talk to really successful people, I see this trend. When I ask people like, what keeps you going? What is it that inspires you? And I am telling you, the most successful people always say that it comes from wanting to make an impact on someone else or doing it for somebody else. There's like this extrinsic motivator that drives them to pull something more from themselves.
Yeah.
And, for you, it was your mom. You wanted to
Yeah.
honor her, right? And you had her with you during your whole entire preparation, right?
Yeah, my mom, I was so happy she got to see the Nationals where I
Yeah.
won the phone card and winning Night of Champions. My mom and my sister, and that was just, I'll never forget that day. It's just
Yeah.
them being there. And
Yeah.
also at the same time, they didn't understand bodybuilding. I grew up,
Yeah.
I came here at the age of 5. In
Yeah.
the Dominican Republic, everything was baseball. So bodybuilding was like never a thing.
Yes.
So, showing them that, look, I'm doing this and this is keeping me out of
Yeah.
trouble. And this is also giving me recognition. I
Yeah,
think,
because you're from the Dominican Republic, right?
yes,
And there are a lot of strong baseball players that come out of the Dominican Republic.
yes, the baseball players. And now we're
Base-
getting a lot of bodybuilders, basically figure. We're getting bikini wellness. So
Yeah.
we're trickling, we're going up the ladder in the
Yeah.
industry.
So, if you don't mind, let's talk about that. You were in the Dominican Republic.
Yes.
You came to the US in the early 2000s, right?
Actually in 79.
You came in 79.
Yes. I was only
Tell me
5.
about that
I
because
was only, it was
you were dealing with that whole process in the early 2000s. So run me through that because
it
that
was
whole
a
thing is
culture
crazy.
shock. It was culture shock because here I am, young kid in the Dominican Republic, running around with no shoes, in my underwear, and my mom just dressed me up one day, put on uncomfortable shoes on me, and just said, "We're going on a plane." No explanation, no nothing. Again, I'm 5 years old, so it's not like
Wow.
you explain anything of matter for a 5-year-old. And
Yeah.
here I am on the plane, and the first thing I still remember telling her was, "We're gonna crash." She's
You remember that. You're
like,
5, but you remember that.
like we're on the plane because she's like, "Oh, we're gonna go up," and I'm like,
Wait,
"Oh
was
yeah,
that your first time on a plane? Was that your first time on a plane?
yes, first time on
Okay,
plane."
so you
And,
thought you were gonna crash.
no, I just said it as a comment, and she
Yeah.
slapped me so hard, I think I almost passed out crying on the flight.
Oh, man.
I deserved it. But
Oh,
yeah, get to the country, and my dad came first. And it's a
huh.
funny story, true story.
Yeah,
Got here and moved in with my dad, and I
okay.
see this real old man, and I thought he was my grandfather because 5 years he was here and I was over there. So I thought literally my dad was my grandfather.
Oh my god. So did you call him grandpa?
I did.
And then how did you discover that you were
My niece used to,
yeah,
they call him grandpa because they actually, he was the grandpa to
yeah.
them. And when I said grandpa, they're like, "Why you calling him grandpa? He's your father." And it was like the soap opera finding out,
A soap opera.
But
This
he's
does sound
so old because everybody's dad was like in the 30s and 40s.
Oh, yeah, remember when 30 was
I'm
old?
60. My dad was like 60.
I remember when 30 was old. I remember those days. Yes.
Mhm.
So you're in the United States, you're 5 years old, and at what point did it, like, dawn on you? I am, you know
I was just shocked. I didn't
Yeah,
understand any of it. It's just I was quiet most of the time because I was just like observing and taking
yeah,
everything in.
right,
The cars, just it was fast paced, even though it was, 79 going into the 80s.
yeah.
Um, it
Where
was
did you fly into? Like, where were you living at this time?
going to Newark, New York City,
Okay, okay,
right into Manhattan, Washington Heights, little Dominican Republic.
okay, okay.
And everybody from the old country was pretty much in this little enclave
Oh my
of
gosh.
neighborhoods.
So you went all the way from 79 all the way until the early 2000s, just kind of with this sitting in you wondering like, is this gonna catch up to me? Are they gonna catch me? Like, what's going on? At what point did you have like a little bit of fear in you about that?
About what? Catch me for what?
About not capturing you, but like maybe not being able to stay in the United States.
No,
Like,
I was
were you ever
fine.
worried you were
Actually,
fine?
yeah, I was fine because my parents were legal.
Oh, okay.
I
Well,
had
then
relationships. It was just me, my trouble, I was,
okay, so that's what happened.
yeah, it was just me. It wasn't, it was those trying times of the 80s. We basically grew up in a melting pot, but at the same time, it
Yeah,
was drugs were rampant, and
right.
when somebody couldn't make their ends meet
Yeah.
working a 9 to 5, they'll just steal a car to make extra money.
Right, right, right,
It
right,
was normal. It was normal because they used to sugarcoat it, like steal a car, but don't worry, the person gets the money back to insurance.
right. This
You
is
know?
good for you to set the story straight because it's so crazy what you can read on the internet when you're trying to like learn about somebody and there are so many people writing so many crazy things.
Yeah.
There's nothing like hearing the story directly from the person, you
Yeah, I
know?
didn't cross the border or anything like that.
Yeah, no, you did not. No, you are you
I was
you
legal, and it
were
was just,
legal.
my troubles from my younger age, from my teenage years. It was just
Yeah.
they kept piling up, and I paid for it dearly because when I wanted to join the military,
Mhm.
that affected me. They wouldn't accept me because my arrests and all
Yeah.
that, and I really wanted to do it, and I even brought up to the judge because I had gotten into a fight when I was 16. I put the guy in the hospital, obviously, but long
Mm.
story. He had jumped me. But anyways, I told the judge, well, can I
Mhm.
join the military instead of going through this whole court thing?
Yeah.
Because I saw, I think the movie The Wanderers, and I saw it in The Wanderers, and the guy, went to the army instead of going to jail, and the guy's
Yeah.
like, "This is not the movie, sir." It would have been great. So
Yeah,
that's why I always support all my nieces, my nephews that are in the military, my
right.
friends, anybody. I'm like a fan of anything military, and it's I wish I would have walked a straighter line, but where I
Yeah,
grew up, and basically getting no advice, no good advice. I mean,
right.
now when somebody will ask me a question or ask for some advice, I actually give them good, genuine advice.
Yeah.
And in contrast, I never had any good advice,
Mhm.
and I don't understand why until I met my trainer, Victor Munoz. He would
Yeah.
keep me outside the head and just focus. And when I didn't want to do the nationals, he's like, "I think you should do it because you're great at it."
Yeah.
And it was one of those things. So it was different. It was different, and that's why I appreciate it.
Well, I mean, it's everyone has their own path, right? I mean, if you think about it, if you had all the best advice growing up and you had the path was totally paved for you,
Yeah,
then maybe you would have rebelled, right? In another way.
I got
But
a bit too much. That's,
but
you know,
I mean, the thing that you're like, I did rebel. But the thing that I appreciate about your journey, though, is that, so many people these days make excuses about why they are maybe not succeeding in life or whatever. This was my childhood or that was my childhood. Or, for you, it's like you went through all like the bumps in the road, you went through all the ups and downs, and you learned as you went, and you don't have any excuses. You use that and
no, I
you
never
know,
wanted to give an excuse
right.
to failure, Oh, it's because of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, all I could do is always, and one of the things, it was always, let's find a solution. If I
Right.
can get this job, let me do this job.
Right.
If I can't join this gym or I couldn't afford a gym, I would sneak into a gym.
Right.
It was always, I always find a way,
Mhm.
obviously never to hurt anyone,
Right.
never to affect anyone else. For me, it was just like I did it, with good intentions,
Yes.
and that's what I had to do, So no excuses, and I never scapegoated.
That's one thing that people would definitely say about you. You've been through all the things that you've been through, and you even maybe you didn't have like somebody giving you good advice, but you like figured things out on your own.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something to really admire. You know what I mean?
No, and again, in life, how it's crazy how in your path, somebody's always in your path, and you meet this one person, and you're like, wow, had I not met you, I wouldn't have done this, And there's a few. There's Victor Munoz, my trainer,
Yeah.
Steve Dickerson, Chris Dickerson's cousin, Mr. Olympia, meeting him, just different people. Johnny Lat's gym, just
Yeah.
my friends who just, hey man, why don't you try this? The guy that took me to the gym my first time,
Yeah.
he's like, man, you're always fighting. Let's go to the gym. So each one of those, I always tell people, listen, before you judge anything, just don't
Mhm.
say no. Just try it. Give yourself
Yeah.
a chance. Try it, and you'll never know unless you try.
You have been through a lot in your life,
No, we all have, Wendy.
what?
We all have. Come on.
I see, that's how I always answer that, because we really all have.
Yeah.
Everyone has a story, you know? For you, I wanna kind of, get you back into that place that you were in 2007,
Yeah.
okay? Let's talk about that because it's exciting and it's a good thing to bring up, and it's a good thing
Mhm.
for people in the industry right now to kind of revisit, I think. You and Jay Cutler.
2007. It was
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about that. Okay. What
it was a
went into
beautiful
that?
year,
Yes, the Olympia. We'll do
bittersweet year.
the bittersweet year. So talk about that. What's going on? How did you take me to there, and then take me to the experience on the stage and the battle?
I just previously had done the '04 and what is it, 2004, 2005, and 2006 Olympia. Was kind of already, getting that, I do belong here,
Mhm.
because '04, even though I guess I qualified, yes, I was up there, still wasn't quite sure,
Yeah.
because it was all surreal to me. But now after '06, placing third, now I'm like, you know what? I'm so close. So I turned it up, in 2007. And I said, you know what? I'm just gonna shut everything out,
Mhm.
no hangout, no none of this, because I always try to have one foot in bodybuilding, the other one in life, hanging out, friends, and all that. But bodybuilding doesn't work that way. You can do it for a while, but it's not really one of those things that works. You have to be a hermit. You have to really enclose yourself
Mhm.
and stay focused, stay the course. So in '07, winning the Arnold first, I'm like, man, I think I got the hang of this. Then I start freaking out a little bit because now I have to start the prep for the Olympia. So early May, and my daughter was born. So
Ah.
yeah, my daughter was born, and I said, man, you know what? I know I'm nervous, but I'm gonna do this for her. I'm gonna do this
Oh,
for her, and I shut it all down. My phone was blocked. Couldn't reach me unless you're either gonna train with me or help me diet. And I, I, I think I had the perfect prep. I had the perfect prep because I was in the gym like clockwork. I'm in the gym 3 times a day. I had my food delivered to me on point. That was before meal prep companies were a thing. You know, somebody from the gym was cooking my meals, and it was just perfect. And I
yeah.
remember getting to the Olympia. A friend of mine gets me, 5 hotel rooms at the Caesar Palace. You know, a big suite. It was like the perfect. Everything was just perfect. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and in my mind, I'm thinking Jay because Ronnie had gotten, second year before,
Mm,
and he's basically already finishing. So I can't, kind of be all crazy. Oh, I beat Ronnie because he was Ronnie already kind of finishing. It was it
yeah.
was Ronnie in his prime, but
Right.
so when
That
they
was
called
quite a
me,
lineup. You, Dexter, Jay, and Ronnie.
yeah, look at that picture. Yeah, I
That was
remember
crazy.
Jay right there in that picture,
Yes.
and I'm like, I felt like I had it, but it's one of these things from like the hood. You don't have it until it's in your hands.
So right here, you think you had it.
Man, no, but I'm like, man, I just hope I get this.
Yeah.
I don't really have it unless I hear my name. And
Yeah.
I remember Jay being a little nervous and he's just kind of not sure. And then I was like, oh man, I lost by a hair. I thought it was because of my hair. No hair.
Let's buy a hair.
Yeah, I actually said that I lost by a hair.
Oh my gosh. You know what though, I think is so crazy is how this was 2007 and it's still like one of the most talked about outcomes in the bodybuilding history, you know?
Yeah,
People still talk about this. It was such a and there are other showdowns that people talk about, but this I think is always going to be one, you
yes.
know?
Yes, it was. We battled it out. It was one of those things, but I don't think they were ready for me, and it was Jay's show. He had won
Yeah.
the year prior. What is he won? He won, yes, 6, then 7. Then
Yeah.
Dexter came in 8, and in 2008, then he came back in '09, and Jay was just the goat.
Yeah.
I got injured the following year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to force skip the 2008 Olympia.
I want to I want to actually I want to actually talk about something. So you someone asked you if you and Jay would be willing to go on a battle, you and Jay.
Why not? Why not?
So,
Why
what's
not? I mean, I'll entertain that only because it'll be fun. It'll be fun, and I mean, obviously, we won't do it to the same caliber that we
yeah.
did it back then because at the end of the day, health first. But why not?
Compete at Masters against Jay.
I won't turn down a good,
There you go.
competition. It'll be fun. But Jay's too smart, man. Jay ain't gonna want to die when a
Yeah.
freaking Masters Olympia.
Let's
Jay
hear
is
what you
obviously,
yeah.
way more popular. He's a mover and a shaker, very successful. And yes, I would entertain it, but I'm not gonna be that boxer that never won the title and wants to, show off, keeps
That's
calling
right
him
there.
out to want to do it. Come on, come on.
You bugged Jay Cutler? What the
I beat him already, in '07.
I had to throw a dart at him.
That was it. That was it.
No, I have to throw a dart at him. But Jay, I never ever
He wouldn't mind.
disrespected him. No, I never
Of
ever
course. Yeah.
disrespected him. And people always try to put me and kind of put me in that area of like kind of, oh, so what do you think? What do you think about
No, I know. I
Yeah,
know. Yeah.
please, like, come on. Jay had nothing to do with it. They gave it to him and that's it.
Right.
He took it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they try to make it personal. And I
Yeah.
said, no, man, this is not that kind of, event.
Yeah.
You know?
People probably do that to you all the time, but I want you to know that when I watch your videos, I can tell that you don't let people do that to you.
No, they try to rattle you like, come on, please.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
No.
No. But I do want to talk about another thing I want to talk about is you were when Nick Walker got hurt, okay, before the Olympia, they had someone had asked you about, you know, what your thoughts are, if you thought he was going to make a comeback. So I do want to talk to you about his comeback at the New York Pro, and I want to know your thoughts because, yeah, I just want to know what your thoughts are.
I thought he looked great.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, again, he's in the open class.
Yeah.
You know? But look at him.
Yeah.
He's there with Martin. Martin, I was surprised looking at Martin, but Nick, you know, he got injured for the, you know, 2023 Mr. Olympia. He didn't get to compete, and then he also skipped the Arnold, and he came in ready. You know, for that time of skipping all those shows, he came in fresh, came in ready, and he's gonna, you know, shake the house at this year's Olympia. So when people were trying to count him out because he's injured, this and that, it's like, come on, guys. Like, it happens. And some of us have the will to come back. Some of us don't. But he's one of the guys that's going to be there for a while. You know?
I don't know why people keep counting him out for some reason. And
the hate is unreal. The hate is just, it's crazy because I know certain people are biased. They like this body. They like certain bodies. But look at bodybuilding as a whole. You know, bodybuilding as a whole. Are you progressing? You're moving on. Are you making the gains? Are you delivering? And he's doing it.
Right, right. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, the thing is, you know, people have their opinions on like different physiques that should do well and that shouldn't do well. And at the end of the day, I think that a bodybuilder like Nick, he will continue to feed off of that. You know, those are the ones that emerge, and those are the ones that become the champions because they don't get, they like let that be their fuel, right?
You have to use, you know, if people are talking about you negative or positive, you know, use that to your best ability. But
have you dealt with that? What's your experience with that? Because with the social media world, it's different. And you know, when you were in 2007, I'm trying to think if there was even Instagram. Was there even Instagram in 2007? No. It was still magazine era.
I think Facebook. That's about it.
Facebook, but
it was still higher magazines. Yes.
It was a magazine era, and you know, people were not behind a computer screen as much, talking all kinds of, you know. But I'm sure you got your share of it. Tell me about that, and then how did you deal with that?
It was great, I think, because we didn't have to always be out there. You know, social media is double-edged sword. You know, it's good, but now you always have to kind of always, you know, post. You know, you see me, I post so sporadic, but if you're up and coming, I always tell people, you know what, just please post, do your workouts, keep going. Don't be shy and just keep going. But you have to be involved. You have to be in there. You have to, you know, get in touch with your fans. You know, even though, and I tell them whether you have, you know, 5,000 or 50 or 500,000, you know, pay attention to them. You know, they are your fans. You know, they're the ones supporting you. They're the ones looking for you. So engage with them. Don't be you know, it's one person who like we used to do was we used to hide, you know, 90s, early 2000. We used to just do our thing, come a show, boom, come out. Once the show's done, disappear, you know. And the magazine would come out. It was from, you know, 3 months prior, 4 months prior. So it was never in real time until social media. So now people are seeing they have a little bit more pressure. They have to always kind of keep posting. They always have to kind of, you know, always be in the limelight of social media limelight, but also that's them promoting themselves. So they have to see the good in it, you know. And
what's up, everybody? Will here from Signature Fitness.
It's my fit for autism.
Yeah, I see that a lot on your page. Sorry about the noise. The thing about social media is it is a totally different era, right? We are, and sometimes it feels like it's impossible to keep up with it.
Yes, it is, but you're good at it.
I mean,
You're great at it, actually.
if you feel like you're not good at it, you're probably doing something right, right?
No, but
Because we're always trying to be better, right?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like you're always on point with your training, with your makeup, the way you look. You're always on
Aw,
point, and I think that's one of the things where people see that they almost feel, "Oh man, I can't keep up with that." But do your own thing,
yeah,
whether it's wrong or right. At the end of the day, it's real.
it is.
It's
That's
real.
the key, right? I mean, like, it's so hard to represent yourself on a timeline and, show who you really are. For me, okay, here's my thing is I totally believe in being real, raw, authentic. But
Yes.
there is a caveat to that. And here is what it is. It's that when I feel like being too vulnerable and too raw sometimes, it will push a certain energy out that comes back to me that actually brings me down,
Yeah.
right? And that's something that I have to contend with. That's something that I have to work through because if I put something out there that, causes people to have sympathy for me or feel bad for me or whatever, right?
Yeah.
That I feel like that sits with me and I feel like it manifests in a certain way. Do you feel
Yeah.
that way?
Yeah, but that's why I really don't. I mean, I always had a death in the family, and one of the things I never did was at the press conference of the Olympia. I never spoke about it
I know.
because I didn't want pity. I didn't want anything. Look, I'm here. I made it.
Mhm.
It's about the show. I don't want you feeling sorry for me. I just want you to see what I've done, what I'm bringing, and if you like it, place me as you see fit.
Mhm.
But I never used pity as a thing. And I've seen a few guys do it. That's their thing. They're good at it. But, they're good at it, and they
That's a
walk with it.
political that's the diplomatic way of saying that.
No, they're good at it. But I'm like,
Yeah,
I
no, they
always
really
see
are.
myself, being pitied, and it's
Yeah.
just like one of those things. If it was bad, it happened. I don't want you, kind of calling me and be like, man, you okay? It's like, I'm not, but eventually I will be, you know.
Right.
But I'm
Yeah.
not gonna use that, for you to feel bad to do me some favors or just
Mhm.
I don't know. I was never that
No.
guy, you know.
That's exactly what I'm talking about though, actually, because it's like what do you share and not have it affect you? Because if you're already being affected and actually so Michael,
Mm,
he started WOLFpak 3 years ago out of his garage, right? And he had just overcome cancer and he was asking himself like what mark have I left on the world? And
mhm,
he felt like he hadn't left his mark yet. So he started this brand and that was his inspiration to start the brand. And one of his coping mechanisms for getting through his cancer recovery was, not changing patterns of his regular behavior
mhm.
because he wanted to feel like things were still normal.
Yes.
And I don't know if you can relate to that.
Big up to him. Big up to him. I didn't go through any cancer. My stuff was mostly injuries and
Yeah.
family deaths. But big up to him. I lost my mom to cancer, and some people just fight the fight.
Mhm.
And so I applaud him for that. And he's still here. He fought it. He beat it. And
Mhm.
look, came up with his brand, and he's still going.
Yeah. But
Then you should be inspired by it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's such an inspirational story. And I mean, for you, you're like you relate to that because when you're honoring your mom in your preparation for your Olympia, you're maintaining that normalcy for yourself. Preparing yourself is something she would have wanted you to do. It's you being you. That's what you're destined to do. And if you would have fallen off of that, that would have broken your pattern and your normal
Oh,
behavior, and that would have made you feel that's what would have made you it hit you, right? That's what made would have
yes.
caused you to grieve on another level, right?
Well, that would have set me up to really feel like a failure because I didn't continue, the path that
Mhm.
you want me to do, so that would have killed me. That would have killed me.
Right, right. So let's talk about what you're doing now because you've
Well,
been doing a lot of stuff with Generation Iron, right?
it's Generation Nine. I have my show coming up, going on the
What's that?
ninth year. Legends. It's in the
Oh,
Bronx.
okay.
Um,
Awesome. I'll
yes.
watch it.
Yeah, it's just it's great. I mean, I always wanted my own show, and I
Yeah.
won my first show in the Bronx.
Okay.
That's why I host the show in the Bronx, and it's
Ah,
pretty cool, you know, because you get people from the local neighborhoods. You got people
yeah,
actually driving in different. I mean, I had people coming from Japan. You know,
right.
I thought it was cool.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. I try to make it fun. I try to make it different, and it's. I love hosting my show, and I just hope to do bigger shows down the line. You know.
Totally.
Also, I have my supplement line, and that's it's there. It's just gaining traction. I have to pay more attention to it, and help more athletes with the brand, and just kind of spread the word. And I need to make more sales.
Right. Well, I mean, starting a brand is a lot of work.
It is. It is. It is.
Like being on it constantly and like just working your butt off, what tell me about your supplement line. Tell me, you have the opportunity to tell me
Yeah,
all about
no, we basically have the protein, the weight gainers, the creatine, the pre-workouts. And again, do I use pre-workouts? Not as much as people would think, because I literally just, do espresso, old school. But
it. Yeah.
you got to go with the market. What does the market want? What does the market demand? And they do the pre-workouts. And we have your BCAs, you name it. We have right now about 10 different products. So, and it's, Middle East is my biggest buyers. And I hope to bring it down to my country, Dominican Republic, and eventually South America, and US is still, we got to manufacture it here to bring it up. So,
Okay. So I found your VM sups, right?
yes, with the Martinez Signature Series. That's it.
Cool. Oh, that's sharp. I like that.
Yeah, I like black and gold. Nothing like black and gold.
Yeah. Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. And then with Generation Iron, you share a lot of information about supplementation, and you give a lot of guidance for some of the young bodybuilders to make sure that they're doing everything healthy and right.
Yeah, I like to give them the good, the bad, and the ugly.
You do.
I have to, because if you only say, hey, I made these gains and I got this gain, but let me tell you a horror story,
Right.
and
Yeah.
because I don't want people that when they are going to use, supplementation,
Yeah.
I don't want them to approach this lightly.
Yeah.
I want to tell them a story. I want to tell them, you can do this, but this is the positive, but also this is the negative, and it could happen to you.
Right.
I want people to respect it. I don't want them to think it's just a game. It's not, it's like anything else. You go out drinking, you drink too much, something bad's gonna happen. So you don't compete if you don't have respect for it. Like a lot of people do go to the gym now. Yes, they are recording themselves and all this, but the lack of respect is one of the things that I see what's going on. So whether you are doing it natural, I do train natural athletes as well. I never ever try to sway them into using anything that will take them away from this, So I always like to say, you know what, you can do this, is great, but just remember, if you go crazy on this bad thing is going to happen. I had guys lose an arm, lose pieces of, tissue on their shoulders, their butt and legs, and, horror stories. So, I mean, I haven't even gotten to the depth of it, of how bad it can be, but I'm not gonna, praise it and approach it like everything's gonna be all great,
Which a lot of people do. So the fact that you are putting information out there that truly is helping people, I think that is one of the things that our industry really needs.
Yes.
So going to Generation Iron and seeing all the information that you guys are sharing is honestly really great. I think for a lot of people that maybe are being led by the only other people that are willing to share, which is maybe not the responsible side of things, right?
Yeah, and again, people always get on their comments and be like, "Oh, you juice head and all this," but
of course,
whatever, at the end of the day, and I just go in because they're gonna start snapping. I could snap.
Yeah.
So I go on their page and I bring up some material. So I usually shut them down with a couple of.
You shut them down.
Oh, man. I love. Don't start snapping with me. We could start mama jokes. We could start.
Mama.
I'll get at you. Like I'll get at you.
You got mama jokes.
I got all kinds of jokes, especially snaps, because I can actually laugh at myself.
Yeah.
I can laugh at myself.
What's your best mama joke?
Oh man,
Your mom. You don't want to say it. You're like,
oh man, there's so many. I just like to use them at people who start up with me.
yeah.
I mean,
You're brave behind a keyboard, right? No.
no. I like to actually snap in their face, but
Oh.
everybody's behind the keyboard, and I'm
Yeah.
like, and usually I never, ever to this day, if
Yeah.
they don't have a face to
Yes.
their profile, I never ever answer back. I
Oh
call it
yeah.
useless. If they have like 10 followers, I don't answer. That's like, why doing that? But when somebody's really a person trying to get at you, that's really like, look at me, I'm telling you this. I'm like, oh, you want to start? Let's do this. Let's do this. I'm good for a fight. Standing up for yourself. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's just it just works.
Yeah.
It just
Everyone
works.
has their own approach that works for them or that they can get away with, right? And
Yeah.
it is interesting because you definitely have a commanding presence. You have a lot of respect in the industry. I mean, most people would say you're crazy for trying to start something with Victor Martinez. So you already, you have the support of people that are going to be like, come on, what are you thinking? Right. For me though, it would be a little bit more challenging because I would probably not be looked at the same way if I tried to shut people down the same way. But
But I never started.
oh no, you don't start. No, I'm not. I'm just saying that I'm just saying everybody has their own unique energy that they bring to the table. And it's fascinating to me that for me, I mean, let me give an example. So CT Fletcher.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, how many people can walk into the gym and be like, it's still your motherfucking set and just talk like he has a style.
Hey, come on, Wendy, still your mother.
I can't. I can't. It just doesn't roll my tongue the same,
That's why you're great. You're special. You know how to carry yourself. You know how to carry yourself.
You know
what
I mean? We all have
you know how to carry yourself. You still you have class.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Somebody could go down and get down and dirty. Like,
yeah,
I would do that.
Yes. Some people, but if somebody were to try to copy his style, then it would probably look, I mean, it'd be obvious. And that's actually another point is in the industry. It's like you brought this up earlier, but there are people that emerge out of this industry and they become superstars and they have a very specific look and vibe and people recognize that and then they want to piggyback on it, copy it, be exactly like that. The Chris Bumsteads of the sport.
Oh my God. I mean, I went to Middle East. I saw like at least 1,000 Chris Bumsteads.
You know what I mean? It's true. It's true. They've got the mustache. They have like they're doing the, and there's some of that's really good because he's the best in the world in classic physique. So it would make sense that people really look up to him and admire him. You start to ingrain yourself in like, how is he training? I want to do the exact same thing. I want to look the exact same way. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure people did that. And I know people did that with you. Did you ever?
It's great to start off that way.
Yeah.
Eventually, I always tell guys, it's fine. It's cool. You can do it. I mean, I used to walk around and, think I was Arnold sometimes, and then I will pose. I'll do his poses and I will train exactly like him. But it's sooner or later, you have to find yourself.
Right.
So it's not wrong because admiration, it's just admiration. Right. So it is. And there's nothing wrong with that. But after a while, you need to like check yourself and be like, you know what? I've been there, done that. Let me just now find myself.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to backtrack a little bit because you want to talk about, you had to come out of prison and you were, you explained this on several podcasts where you went in and you weighed like 230 pounds.
Yeah, lost a good 50 pounds, I remember.
And you lost like 50 pounds. So tell me about that and then your process of coming back from that.
It was something that I thought it was going to be a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the judge that I had was pretty you know, it was crazy because what was he? He had a 94% deportation rate,
Mm.
meaning anybody who was in his case, he would deport them. So what I have nothing but time. After realizing I'm here 2 months, I'm like, you know what? Let me study this guy. You know, let me study this guy. So every person that had the same judge,
Mhm.
I will interview them. And
Wow.
yeah, I had to because I need to find out
That's smart.
well, why is this judge deporting people? You know, like what is it? Like are they that bad or is it
Right.
like, what is he doing? And so I would interview them. I would get them, you know, usually a lot of guys that were, you know, there
Mhm.
were, you know, most of them obviously immigrants and, you know, either were born, you know, not born here, but been here for a while. And they just clueless, but I'm there. We have this judge. I have the time. So I would just buy them commissary. I'd be like, hey, you know, let me sit down with you for like 30 minutes.
Mhm.
I'll buy you food this week, you know. So I'll take notes. And I realized this judge had a common thing he would do.
What?
He would now, mind you, when you're, you know, obviously, you know, I've been in court many times.
Mm.
And each judge has their own little shtick. You know, and with him, I realized after comparing my notes with
Mm.
everybody, he always sets you up to
Hmm.
perjure yourself.
Hmm.
And he will ask you a question, and eventually down the line, we're actually the same questions like 5, 6, 7, or 8 times. And
Hmm.
eventually he will say, listen, man, you know, I like you. You're like a good kid, you know? Are you sure? You know, he will ask you, like, when was the last time you did something illegal or bad or drove under the influence? If you said 1 year,
Yeah.
don't change it because if you change it, you just perjure yourself.
Oh, yep. He's trying to catch you in a web of lies so that he can snag that.
Yes. And I realized he did that to a few people, and two of those people were my friends. And they had told me, man, he said he was going to help me. And he asked me, when was the last time I drove under the influence? And, you know, I really didn't want to tell him because
Yeah.
my mom is there, everybody's there, but he pulled everybody out the room. Come on, tell me. I really want to help you. And then when they said, you know, from 2005, they said, oh, in 2008, I did also do this. He goes, thank you. See, boom.
Ah,
Because it's automatic deportation
yeah.
with perjury.
That was so smart on your part. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but you know, not that I wasn't answering him wrong.
No.
It was just why does he ask me this question 5 times, and I caught on because he was asking me, and that's what I remember from interviewing these guys. You know, but
Mm-hmm.
that was golden. I appreciate them. I,
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate, you know, getting to the judge, but his jig was up with me, and I was glad to face him off, and the COs that were there, the
Yeah.
correction officers that saw me talking back to him, kind of
Yeah.
they were laughing because it was like, man, nobody ever speak to him like that. But
Oh my
he,
God.
he reminded me of my father too, the judge, in a way.
In a good way?
Yeah, just like real stern and just kind of almost wants me to really step
You
on.
can't lie to your dad, I'm guessing.
Yeah, yeah, but he was really like annoyed almost to the point that
Mm-hmm.
I did not, you know, fall into his trap. You know
Right.
what I mean? So he got annoyed, and I still remember my dad when he told me, "Don't work out anymore," and you know, or I'll throw out your weights. And I said, "Well, I'm leaving with my weights," and he got so angry. But you know, fast forward, look, everything that happened. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's crazy.
it's
So that's a whole nother story. Gosh, I feel like I'm unraveling stories with you as we go because now I want to know. You left your house with your weights, and then what happened there? I mean,
it was just that was the beginning of it. You know,
wow.
yeah, that was the beginning because my mom had giving me $60.
Yeah.
And it was my first 60. And I remember, what could I buy? The sneakers I always wanted, like
Yeah.
the college jacket I always wanted. And I saw Models. It was sporting goods back then, and they had the Weeder sets for sale. And I'm like, man, this is what I want.
Dumbbells.
Dumbbells. That's it.
Dumbbells.
Dumbbells. And I bought it. And when I bought this, mind you, I grew up on the 5th floor.
Yeah.
So here I am. I got all these dumbbells, all these weights, and I'm carrying them and I'm putting them in this little room that I share with, 4 of my sisters.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck are you doing, boy?
That's funny.
So I
and
kept
then
moving the weights around. It was like in my room. He kicked me out of the room. It was in the rooftop. They kicked us out of the rooftop. It was in the basement. And eventually I had to move out. But it was just me going along with my weights.
Okay, so this is crazy. You moved out literally so you could work out and train.
Yes, that's 17.
And then look at where it took you.
I know, but it was just that's always when I have somebody that's, I'm around somebody that they're real adamant about what they're doing, and then they have this, zoned out. This is what I do. This is what I like. I'm like, you know what? I support that.
That's awesome. Yes.
Yeah, I support that. Keep going, and let's go for it. So I never ever make fun of anybody who's whatever the hell they do.
Whatever they want to do. Yeah.
Yeah. But when they really have the conviction, like, I love this, I'm doing this, I'm like, oh, dude, let's go.
This is so cool. You went in, you bought your first set of dumbbells. That's what you wanted to get with your first $60 that your mom gave you.
$60. It was on sale, $45.99.
You went up to the 5th floor and you trained with your weights.
I mean, it was 110 pounds, and I will have to say I could carry that by myself right now, but I had to carry it with about 4 different guys.
So, but you left your house with the weights. And when you left the house with the weights, you obviously were willing to sacrifice your living situation for this passion that you had formed. And then fast forward to now, I bet you have no regrets with leaving that house with those dumbbells.
No, because I had to stand up to my dad. I had to stand up, and I would have
more about that.
More, but he didn't give me an alternative. Like, don't do this when you could do this. He just, I don't want it. Well, that's not good enough. You don't want it. It's just not good enough. You see me, I'm not outside. You see me, I'm not in the street. I'm in my room. I'm working out. It's like, I don't understand. So it was just different times. And like I say, it was older. It was from the old school.
Yeah.
So I didn't fault him for it. Looking back now, I didn't fault him. He just didn't understand.
Yeah. I mean, I'm making light of it, but this is like heavy stuff. The way that all went down, I'm sure that was a lot.
Yeah. It was time. And again, he's like, oh, are you going to be able to eat with these weights? Like he'll put this, like, are you going to get a job with these weights? And I'm like, no, but I'm doing this, so I won't.
And look, now, fast forward to now, are you going to be able to eat with these weights? Yes. Are you going to be in a job with these weights? Yes.
But that was the beauty of it, because now, now I'm in the Nationals, I'm in the Olympia, and people are going up to him and be like, hey, man, I saw your son in the magazine. Look, and they show. He was just like.
That's the best kind of way. I wouldn't call it revenge, but I would say maybe not with your dad, because I wouldn't want to say that about.
No, I never did anything.
I would say for people, out there, not your parents, but people who they talk smack or whatever, and I don't ever entertain that, because the best form of, I don't even like the word revenge, but the best form to kind of show people what's going on is success. You have success, and that's the best way to prove any point, right?
Yeah, that was just the best thing. It wasn't like, see, look, I never rubbed it in his face.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like, I'm doing that. And in the end, his final years, we hung out. I took care of him. It was nothing, no bad blood.
Yeah.
And again, if somebody's a different age or a certain time, you shouldn't judge them on that, regardless of how hard they can speak against it. You know, you have to put yourself in their shoes. You know,
Totally.
yeah. So
I love that. You know what? You're such a kind soul. You have done so much for the industry. You give back. You know, you're a good influence. You always have such kind things to say. You don't let anyone rattle you.
no, you have to keep your cool. You know, you have to
Yeah.
keep your cool regardless of a situation. And you know, I mean, a lot of times not keeping it cool get you in worse trouble. You know,
Hmm.
bigger
I
problems.
agree. I agree. I agree. Well, you definitely keep your cool for
Uh,
sure. Yeah.
too calm sometimes.
No. This has been such an awesome conversation. I would like we could go on and on. I mean, there are other things that I want to know even after you've shared the things that you shared. So, you know, maybe I'll bring you back
Yes.
if you'd be willing to come back.
Anytime for you, Wendy. Okay, anytime for you. And you know,
Thank you.
you see you're doing great things, and I look at all my friends doing great stuff. So that's what keeps me motivated. You know, it's not just what I'm doing, but you know, when I have some free time without the kids, you know, because I like my friends always say, I feel like you were born with kids. So when I have free time to myself, I look and what is this person doing, and it wakes me up. You know.
Aw. Well, if you ever are like in the LA area and you want to come out to the headquarters, you know, here at WOLFpak, we would love to have you out here for
Yes,
sure.
of course. What city are you in there?
This is Huntington Beach.
Nice. It's not
Yeah.
too far. I've been there.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
nice.
Or you could come out here, check out all your friends at the Mecca.
Yes, of course. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not too far. I remember. It's my wife was in Marina Del Rey. We used to go.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't too
Not
far.
far, not far at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you have any final thoughts, any final words for your fans, for the viewers?
Just my fans, you know, and everybody that's supporting your show, you know, thank you. Appreciate you guys. I want to always contribute to the bodybuilding world, the bodybuilding industry, NPC, IFBB, natural or not, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, as long as you have the passion and you want to keep going, anywhere I could help, I always take the time to answer your questions. It doesn't have to be always about money, you know. Until now, you want to get me into a whole psychological, you know, therapy session, then come on, pay me. But definitely, I love giving the time. I love seeing. I go to every show here that Steve Weinberg has,
Yeah.
and I'm so lucky to have him on this side. You know, on the East Coast because he puts on some great shows, and I love seeing the up and coming. I love seeing them and love supporting them, and we love this.
Yeah, we love it. You love it. You're here to stay. And thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
And don't go anywhere. I want to say goodbye after all
Of
this.
course, of
And
course.
to everyone watching, thank you so much. And we will see you later.
Yeah.